It started on a calm day in Bellwood, the kind of day that felt almost suspiciously peaceful to Ben Tennyson. After years of wielding the Omnitrix, fighting intergalactic threats, and saving the universe more times than he could count, Ben had developed a sixth sense for when trouble was brewing. But today felt different. The summer breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass, birds chirped melodically in the distance, and for once, Ben was actually enjoying a moment of tranquility. Sprawled out on the grass in his backyard, the 17-year-old hero watched clouds drift lazily across the sky. His Omnitrix, the powerful alien device attached to his wrist, remained silent. No alarms, no glowing, no sudden transformations, just peace. Gwen was away at a college prep program, and Kevin was busy with his auto shop. For once, Ben had nothing to do but relax. Maybe the universe finally decided to give me a day off, Ben mused, closing his eyes and soaking in the warmth of the sun. That's when it happened. A sound like tearing fabric ripped through the air, jolting Ben upright. The peaceful blue sky above him suddenly fractured, as if reality itself was being torn apart. A glowing rift appeared directly overhead, swirling with colors that defied description. Not just blues and purples, but hues that seemed to exist beyond the visible spectrum. Colors Ben's human eyes shouldn't even be able to perceive. What the? Ben jumped to his feet, instinctively activating the Omnitrix. The familiar green holographic display sprang to life, cycling through his alien roster. But before he could slam down on his selection, the rift pulsed, expanding outward in concentric rings of energy. From within this cosmic tear stepped a being unlike any alien Ben had encountered before. Tall and slender, draped in what appeared to be a cloak made of starlight, the entity had no discernible face, just a smooth, reflective surface where features should be. Yet somehow, Ben could sense it was studying him intently. The being didn't move what might have been its mouth. In fact, Ben couldn't tell if it even had one. But a voice resonated directly in his mind, clear as crystal. "You are needed across the multiverse." Ben blinked, his fingers still hovering over the Omnitrix. "The what now?" "Look, I don't know who you are, but if this is another azimuth test or some plumber emergency, there is no time," the voice interrupted, somehow conveying urgency without changing its tone. "The balance is fracturing. You are the nexus point." Before Ben could respond, the being extended what might have been an arm. The rift expanded, and an invisible force pulled Ben forward. He tried to transform, to become Heat Blast or XLR8, anything to resist. But the Omnitrix suddenly pulsed with an unusual green light, synchronizing with the rift's energy. "Wait!" Ben shouted as his feet left the ground. "I don't even know what's happening!" But his protests were swallowed by the void as he was yanked through the rift. The sensation was unlike any alien transformation or teleportation he'd experienced before. His body felt simultaneously compressed to the size of an atom and stretched across infinite space. Colors, sounds, and sensations bombarded his consciousness, spinning, falling, twisting through layers of reality until impact. Ben landed hard on a solid surface, the breath knocked from his lungs. For a moment, he lay still, waiting for his senses to realign. When he finally opened his eyes, he found himself in a vast chamber that seemed to float in the emptiness of space itself. The walls, if they could be called that, were transparent, revealing a cosmos unlike the one he knew. Stars pulsed with rhythmic light, nebulae formed patterns too perfect to be natural, and distant galaxies arranged themselves in geometric formations. But what truly captured Ben's attention were the holograms. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, floating throughout the chamber. Each one showed a different scene, and in each one was him, or rather, versions of him. Ben approached the nearest hologram, mesmerized. It showed a Ben Tennyson in what looked like medieval armor, the Omnitrix redesigned as a gauntlet, fighting alongside knights against a dragon-like alien. Another displayed a Ben in a sleek, futuristic suit, wielding an Omnitrix that had been integrated into his entire arm. Yet another showed a female version of himself, confidently transforming into aliens Ben had never seen before. Some are heroes, a deep, resonant voice echoed throughout the chamber. Some chose darker paths. Some aren't even human anymore. Ben spun around, instinctively reaching for the Omnitrix again. At the center of the chamber stood a group of figures, silhouetted against a particularly bright star visible through the transparent wall. As they approached, Ben could make out their features, and his jaw dropped. They were all him. Different versions, different ages, different realities, but unmistakably, Ben Tennyson. One stepped forward, older than Ben by perhaps a decade, with a short beard and a scar running across his right eye. His Omnitrix was more streamlined than Ben's, glowing with a steady emerald light. There was a weariness to his posture, the stance of someone who had fought too many battles. The Omnitrix was never meant to be used like this, the older Ben said, his voice matching the one that had spoken earlier. It was designed as a tool for understanding, for peace, not as a weapon to conquer realities. Ben found his voice at last. Who are you? What is this place? The older Ben's expression softened slightly. I'm you, or rather, the first you. Ben Prime, they call me. The original timeline from which all others branched. He gestured around the chamber. This is the Nexus, a point outside conventional space-time where the Watchers observe the multiverse. The Watchers? Ben asked, noticing for the first time several of the faceless beings like the one that had brought him here, standing silently at the edges of the chamber. Cosmic entities who maintain the balance between realities, Ben Prime explained. They rarely intervene directly, but what's happening now, it's forced their hand. Another version of Ben stepped forward, this one dressed entirely in black, with tech-enhanced ninja gear and an Omnitrix that seemed to blend seamlessly with the shadows around his wrist. We're here because of Ben Z, this darker Ben said, his voice low and intense. A version of us who lost everything. Ben Prime nodded grimly. In his timeline, Vilgax didn't just attack Earth, he destroyed it. Ben Z watched his family, his friends, his entire world burn. It changed him. A hologram expanded before them, showing a devastated landscape. Standing amidst the ruins was another Ben Tennyson, but this one was different. His eyes held a coldness that sent shivers down Ben's spine. On his chest was an Omnitrix unlike any Ben had seen, larger, with circuitry that seemed to have burrowed into the wearer's flesh, pulsing with an ominous red and black energy. That's the Omega-Trix, said another Ben, this one a young woman with the Omnitrix, designed as an elegant bracelet. Ben Z modified his Omnitrix after his world died. It doesn't just transform him into aliens anymore. It fuses their DNA, creating hybrid forms that shouldn't exist. And now he's traveling the multiverse, Ben Prime continued, hunting down other versions of us, stealing their Omnitrix energy, absorbing their alien DNA. With each reality he visits, he grows stronger. Ben stared at the hologram, watching as Ben Z transformed into a creature that seemed to combine Heat Blast's flames with Diamond Head's crystalline structure. Why? What does he want? To remake the multiverse. The Ninja Ben, who introduced himself as Ben Noir, answered. He believes the Omnitrix was wasted on us, that we lack the vision to use it properly. He wants to create a single, perfect reality under his control, which would destabilize the entire multiverse, added another Ben. This one with mechanical augmentations and a tech-focused Omnitrix. I'm Ben Forge, by the way. In my world, I work with Azimuth directly. The calculations are clear. If Ben Z succeeds, countless realities will collapse. Ben's mind raced, trying to process everything. So why me? There are thousands of us, right? Some of you look way more experienced than I am. Ben Prime placed a hand on Ben's shoulder. Because your timeline sits at a crucial junction point. Your choices, your development with the Omnitrix, they've created ripple effects throughout the multiverse. You're not the most powerful Ben, but you might be the most important. The female Ben, who called herself Ben Trixie, stepped forward. Plus, your Omnitrix is special. It's evolved differently than most of ours. The Watchers believe it might be the key to stopping Ben Z. Ben looked down at his Omnitrix, which seemed ordinary enough to him. I don't understand. It's just the same old watch. Is it? Ben Prime raised an eyebrow. How many times has it seemingly malfunctioned, only to give you exactly what you needed? How often has it protected you in ways Azimuth never programmed? Your bond with the Omnitrix is unique. Before Ben could question this further, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The holograms flickered, many showing the same scene. A reality being torn apart as a rift similar to the one that had brought Ben here expanded across its sky. He's attacking another timeline, Ben Forge said, checking a holographic display from his tech-enhanced Omnitrix. Earth 773. A world where you never found the Omnitrix, but Gwen did. Then we need to move, Ben Prime said decisively. Ben Z is getting closer to his goal. We need to stop him before he absorbs any more Omnitrix energy. Ben felt a surge of determination. Whatever doubts he had, whatever questions remained unanswered, one thing was clear. A version of himself was threatening countless innocent lives across multiple realities. That made it his responsibility. I'm in, he said firmly. How do we stop him? Ben Prime nodded approvingly. We've assembled a team, the best versions of ourselves from across the multiverse. Ben Noir, master of stealth and infiltration. Ben Forge, our tech expert. Ben Trixie, whose peaceful world gave her a unique perspective on the Omnitrix's potential. And now you. What about you? Ben asked. A shadow crossed Ben Prime's face. I'll guide you, but I can't directly engage Ben Z again. Last time we fought, it didn't end well. He pulled back his sleeve, revealing an arm that was partially crystallized, as if frozen mid-transformation. The Omega-Trix can corrupt other Omnitrixes, even mine. That's why we need you. Your Omnitrix might be immune. Ben nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at him. So what's the plan? First, Ben Forge said, we need to track Ben Z to his home base. He's not just attacking randomly. He's following a pattern, collecting specific alien DNA from each reality. We believe he's building towards something, Ben Trixie added. A final transformation that would give him the power to rewrite reality itself. And to do that, Ben Prime concluded, we need to go to where it all began for him. We need to visit Ben Z's universe. The Watchers approached, opening a new rift with a synchronized movement of their featureless arms. Through it, Ben could see a devastated landscape, the ruins of what might once have been Bellwood, but now lay in silent desolation under a blood-red sky. Ben took a deep breath, steeling himself. Let's do this. Stepping through the rift alongside his multiversal counterparts, Ben immediately felt the difference in this reality. The air was acrid, burning his lungs with each breath. The sky above wasn't just red. It seemed to pulse with malevolent energy, as if the atmosphere itself had been corrupted. And Bellwood, what remained of it was barely recognizable. Buildings reduced to rubble, streets cracked and warped, and an eerie silence that spoke of complete abandonment. "What happened here?" Ben whispered, the desolation overwhelming him. "Vilgax happened," Ben Prime answered grimly. "But not the Vilgax you know. In this reality, he found a way to amplify the Chimera sui generis genetic structure, becoming something closer to a god than an alien warlord. Ben Z fought him," Ben Noir added, scanning the surroundings with tech-enhanced vision. "Fought harder than any of us might have. But it wasn't enough. Vilgax destroyed everything, and when he was done, he simply left. There was nothing left to conquer." "That's when Ben Z snapped," Ben Trixie said softly. "He modified his Omnitrix, turning grief into rage, protection into vengeance." A sudden movement caught Ben's attention. Something large was shifting behind a collapsed building, and then another movement to their left and another behind them. Within moments, they were surrounded by creatures that defied description. Monstrous fusions of aliens Ben recognized individually, but combined in ways that seemed fundamentally wrong. A being with heat blast flaming body but wild vines plant-like tendrils slithered forward, its flames burning with an unnatural green hue. Another creature combined XLR8's speed with Ripjaw's aquatic features, moving in disorienting bursts while snapping massive jaws. Dozens more emerged from the ruins, each a twisted hybrid of alien DNA forced together. XLR Bolt and Heat Vine, Ben Forge identified, activating his tech-enhanced Omnitrix. Ben Z's early experiments with fusion transformation. "They're not fully sentient," Ben Prime warned as the creatures closed in. "Just echoes of the aliens they were created from, driven by basic instincts, but they're dangerous." Ben didn't need to be told twice. He activated his Omnitrix, cycling through his aliens before selecting Diamond Head. The familiar sensation of transformation washed over him as his human DNA was temporarily replaced with Petrosapien genetic material. Crystal replaced skin. His body grew larger and stronger, and within seconds, the transformation was complete. "Let's see how these fusion monsters handle some good old-fashioned diamond power," Ben said, his voice deeper in this form. The battle erupted in chaos. Ben Noir transformed into a shadow-like alien Ben didn't recognize, slipping between dimensions to strike at the creatures from unexpected angles. Ben Forge became a mechanized version of Upgrade, merging with debris to create improvised weapons. Ben Trixie transformed into a graceful, light-based alien moving with fluid precision as she incapacitated the fusion monsters without causing unnecessary harm. As Diamond Head, Ben created crystal barriers to contain the creatures, working in tandem with his counterparts. Despite never having fought together before, there was an instinctive coordination between them. As if on some fundamental level, they were still the same person, anticipating each other's strategies. Just as they seemed to be gaining the upper hand, the ground beneath them trembled. A massive fissure split the earth, and from it rose a fusion creature larger than any they'd faced. Part way big, part humongosaur, with elements of gravitax swirling around its core. "Fall back!" Ben Prime shouted. "That's a Titan-class fusion! We can't beat it head-on!" But before they could retreat, a blast of energy struck the massive creature, causing it to howl in pain before collapsing back into the fissure. The energy beam had come from above them, and as Ben looked up, he saw a figure descending slowly through the red sky. Ben Z had arrived. Up close, the similarities to Ben were even more disturbing. They shared the same face, though Ben Z appeared slightly older. with hollow cheeks and eyes that burned with an intensity that bordered on madness. The Omegatrix was embedded in his chest, its circuitry spreading across his torso like metallic veins, pulsing with crimson energy. He landed softly before them, dismissing the fusion creatures with a casual wave of his hand. They retreated into the ruins, leaving an eerie silence. "I knew you'd come," Ben Z said, his voice so similar to Ben's own, yet distorted by a subtle electronic resonance. "The Watchers are so predictable, always sending heroes to clean up their messes." Ben Prime stepped forward. "This has to stop. You're destabilizing the multiverse. Billions of lives are at risk." Ben Z's laugh was cold, empty of humor. "Billions? Try infinite lives, Prime. Infinite realities. Infinite suffering." He gestured to the Devast.